Next up we have the end theme from Super Mario 64. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here musically. So if you're watching this, whether it's in the live stream or the YouTube archive, make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, whatever term you want to use. Like the video, share the video, leave a like and a comment and all that good stuff. Turn on notifications, and we just got monetized, so consider dropping one of the memberships. We might be bringing memberships-only content soon for non-video game music, so consider that. Anyway, two main disclaimers. Number one, this is the first time I'm hearing this song as in this format, so I will be pausing this a lot, as I will be pointing things out as I hear them. And number two, this is done in a single take live on stream, so I might stumble upon my words, my brain, and we might have to adjust to that, as you just saw. So with that in mind, let's do this. End theme from Super Mario 64. Let's see.
What's that smell?
Come on, Zelmic!
This
Come
smell?
on! I'm in the middle of doing a thing!
Like a fucking weeb!
Come on! Okay, so we start with some bongas, and it sounds like we either have a shaker or some hi-hats setting the beat. Surprisingly tropical sounding, but I like it. Let's see where this goes. Oh, those beautiful, beautiful... Man, that synth just brings back all the memories, dude. We are having a very, very lovely chord progression over here, and the worst thing is that the blurb actually blended in with this surprisingly well. So there you go. It's okay, Zelmic, I forgave you. So yeah, we have this very, very simple chord progression that is being played in a very, very, very lovely way, because we have chord 1 and chord 2. And what we are doing is we are playing a couple of notes in between to tie them together. Because in the last video that we did, we talked about the concept of voice leading. When you take the chords and you try to make them, you try the common denominators between the chords so that you move as few notes as possible. And in this case, it seems like we are doing somewhat the opposite. So instead of finding common denominators here, instead of doing that, we are using the distances between those two chords to make a small melody. And with that, we might have introduced our first motif. The motif being the smallest version of our musical idea, the seed from which everything else comes from. So, let's see where this goes. Yep, we're using that motif. Yep, so we introduce the full drum set, now we introduce an actual drum beat, and that motif, we have done a very small change to the motif. Very subtle, but it is the same motif. So the first time we heard the motif, it was doing something called swing. When it comes to rhythm, let's bring up the concept of time signature first. Again, upper number, number of notes. Lower number, the type of notes. So in English, super easy to memorize. Whole notes equals 1. Half notes is 2. Quarter notes is 4. Eighth notes is 8. So on and so forth. 4/4 therefore means 4 quarter notes in a measure. The measure being just a subdivision of space for organizational purposes for music to make things plausible for musicians. So when we have this, each quarter note is 2 eighth notes. So when it comes to counting, we would have counting in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple, right? And if we were to count it in eighth notes, we would just add and in between for every eighth note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, when it comes to music, you can also have something called triplets. I'm weaving here. It will all make sense in a moment. So a triplet or a tuplet, when you take the overall concept of a tuplet, is when you take a certain amount of notes and you force them in a space where other notes would be. So the most common one is the triplet. And one of the most common ones is the eighth note triplet. So an eighth note triplet is when you take, in the space of 2 eighth notes, you put 3 eighth notes instead. 3. So instead of counting number and, you count number ta ta. So in this case, let's say we replace this eighth note and we use the eighth note triplet instead to count. So instead of going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, let's do just the fourth beat. We're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ta ta, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ta ta. So it gives us this space. Now, swing is when you take a triplet and you delete that middle note. Usually you make it the equivalent. So it's either going to be silence in the triplet, or it's going to be a quarter note and an eighth note in a triplet format. But in the end, the way it sounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, da da da. So when you put these in a full count, 1 da 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 3 da 4 1 da 2 da 3 da 4 da. So it gives us this sense of acceleration, which is kind of what the initial motif was having. It was doing the motif in triplets, in swing. Usually when you will see swing, you will see a little thing that says, okay, so eighth notes equals this, like this thing, so that you make sure that you're always reading that way. And what we did when we changed from that initial keyboard to the new keyboard sample that we have, we just got rid of this and we went back to straight eighth notes. It's the same overall melodic shape, the exact same melodic shape. It's just that we got rid of the triplets and now we're doing straight eighth notes, but we are keeping the rest of the melody the exact same. And that small change made everything so different. That plus the instrumentation is different, right? But there you go. It's the same melody. We're just doing straight eighth notes now. We repeat. And we have like a little guitar doing a bit of accompaniment. So yeah, we have a piano, we have it sounds like a guitar. I mean, these are all MIDI instruments. MIDI is just digital instruments. And we're doing like this very lovely combination between this like rock and like light rock with funk. It's kind of somewhere in between those two styles, and it just sounds lovely. Let's see where this goes. We bring in that cadence. Let's see where this goes. Okay, and on top of this, we are doing a very, very lovely thing that many composers do, which is, in concept, a light motif. So a light motif can be many things. Again, motif is a small version of a musical idea. Leitmotif is something that Wagner coined to make it so that, okay, we have a theme and I want to use it in more than one piece. So when you use it in more than one piece, it turns into a leitmotif. And what are we doing? We are taking that sound of that keyboard / xylophone that we would get from the underwater levels in this game. And by the way, it seems like some of these samples were according to the different types of levels that we would get in Mario. So now we are doing the underwater, and we are doing that overall shape that we would usually have of the arpeggiation. Arpeggiation is when you're playing chord one note at a time, and you just have that arpeggiation going up. From that, it gives you, once again, the concept of instrumentation, or otherwise known as orchestration, which is you pick the right instrument for the right sound and for the right psychological response. If you, especially for video games, if you give a specific instrument a specific sound for a specific area, whenever you bring that instrument back, the player is immediately going to recall that area in their minds. That is exactly what is happening here with this xylophone-esque thing. So let's see where you take this. So we are still doing the motif above that, but now the accompaniment has switched over to this xylophone over here. Can you use heavy metal? That would just be ultra kill, Empress. That would just be ultra kill. Alright, let's see. And now we have another change of instrumentation. This one, I can't fully remember which one this one recalls, but we are still doing... I love this. We are cycling through the different types of levels that we would go through. We are kind of just keeping the motif the same. We're just slightly adapting it to the style of those particular places and stages that we were in. And yeah, we have this beautiful... Like, this reminds me a bit of when you actually get the princess, but I could be wrong. It is the same... The pan flute from the opening menu. So yeah, this is 100% going to give you all the flashbacks designed, especially if you're a kid and this is the only game you had. Yeah, this is going to bring you all the flashbacks, and it's going to be awesome. Let's see. Same exact motif. Big guy, welcome to the day. How you doing? And here is a very good use of the concept, because we've talked about this concept several times, right? There is a very delicate balance to be had between giving your audience familiar material, keeping them in the familiar zone, and giving them new material. If you keep things familiar for too long, if you repeat yourself too many times the same way, the audience is gonna get bored, they're gonna tune out. If you give them too many new things too quickly, they might get overwhelmed, they might tune out. So there's a very delicate balance to do right here. And what we've been doing so far for almost 2 minutes now, we have played the exact same overall motif and melody, and we've been changing the instrumentation. The drum beat has pretty much stayed the same, the guitar has pretty much stayed the same, and then it's just whichever keyboard is in the background and whatever lead instrument is taking the melody in whatever style of those previous stages we had. This is very clever. Especially considering that, you know, Nintendo 64, they didn't have that much space. Let's see where this goes. We bring back that synth from, like, the very, very beginning, the first stage that you were in. This might be a recapitulation. It sounds kind of the same as the one from back here. Yes. Okay, so in this case, we have gone through probably 3 different variations, and now we are doing what is called a recapitulation. This could be due to the fact that this was in a game cartridge, and they might have had, like, maybe 1 megabyte of space for the entire soundtrack. So in this type of cases, it loops, and it just goes back and loops and back and loops and back and loops. Chances are this is going to fade out. Like, this is going to fade out, not because it faded out in the game, but because otherwise it would just loop infinitely. Mutant players play exactly, exactly. No, there is a variation here. There is a small variation here. Those strings in the back. And that beautiful sounding, like victorious synth there. Let's see. And now we should brunch back. So there was variation after all. So instead of taking us back to the other element that we had, we did kind of like an somewhat of a rondo-esque thing. Rondo, by the way, rondo is a type of form. Form in music is just the structure of the track that you're doing, right? And usually in music you will have maybe an intro, then you're gonna have section A, then maybe section B. You might sometimes go back to section A. And when it comes to a rondo, rondo is a very, very beautiful type, which is to go around. And the structure of a rondo is going from A to B, back to A, maybe A prime. Prime just means there's a variation. To C, back to A, to D, and so on and so forth as much as you want, right? And right now, what we are doing in this piece, we did an intro. We had section A. We had section B. Then we had section C. We did a recapitulation to section A. We did B. And we are following it by B prime instead of C. So we are doing a variation of a rondo in a fairly clever way. This beat looks awful. And yeah, I like this. I like this because we're doing a variation which contains what is called a direct modulation. Modulation is when you change what set of chords you're using. A key signature is what set of chords you're using depending on what scale you are using or what scales you're using. Modulation is when you move from one to another. Usually when you have a modulation, you will use some sort of cadence that helps you modulate. Among the Couch, welcome to the day, how you doing? So you will have like chords that will borrow notes from the new scale and then ease the listener into the new set of chords into the modulation. But then there is direct modulation where we're in key signature 1. Now we're in key signature 2. There is no transition in between, it just happens. And there are many ways it can happen. One of them is stepwise motion, which is just, oh, we were in the key of C. Oh, now we're in the key of D. That's one step above. And that's it. Vankada, welcome to the day. How you doing? So, yeah, that's what just happened. And this just gives a very lovely sense of escalation because you're going up one step. And that's it. So, it's super simple and it works. But let's see where you're going. And we're doing the exact same motif over and over again. We're just adjusting it to the style. How are you gonna end this though? We've got 30 seconds left. Let's see. Okay. We bring it back to the intro. We cadenced. Okay, so we had another cadence there to end it, bring it back to the intro. And there you go. Oh, that was there you go. That was a very, very simple yet very effective way of ending it. Because we reached that climax when we had that direct modulation. No fade out at all. This song, this track actually ends. And we do this very quick... We take away everything. We do what I like to call going off the ramp. Going off the ramp is a colloquial term. Colloquial term just means there is no academic term, official term, or I'm not using it to illustrate the point. And here, to establish a transition and a cadence to set up something like that, you can just take away the drums and you give the player that sense of being up in the air and suspended. And we did that while recapitulating the intro that we had with the very, very first few notes, very first few chords, and now slow it down and give it one last cadence, resolve those chords, dun dun, we are done here, thank you for playing. And the cool thing about this is that in the game engine, they could easily just loop this back to like section A after the intro, and that's it. This is a beautiful piece. Like, oh, I might want to just boot up Mario 64 one of these days. It's such a fun game. There you go. That was the end theme from Super Mario 64. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way that you don't have to be one to understand what has happened here musically. If you're watching this on the video archive and all that good stuff, thank you for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications. We just got monetized, so consider doing one of them paid memberships. I am in the works of bringing members-only content for stuff like maybe anime or film music. We will see. We're in the middle of the discussions for that. So, consider that. If you want to listen to this track in full without me interrupting every 2 seconds, I will link it in the description down below. If you want to request a song and you're not on the live stream, go to the Discord, go to the LFA requests channel, follow the instructions on the pinned messages, and that's it. If you don't follow the instructions, you don't get considered. And if you want to watch the streams live, links in the description for the Twitch channel and the Discord server. They both have the stream schedule showing in your local time zone when we start the streams, so that you don't have to calculate them time zones, because they're awful. I almost said timeshare. Jesus. So there you have it. That was end theme from Super Mario 64. Really, really good stuff, man. That was awesome. But yeah, let's move on.